Everybody, Carl Schoof here from Snorkel.tv, and welcome to this not an episode of Motion Study. Alright, so I was going to record my first episode, and then I realized that, instead of having a static screen at the beginning, I probably should have some animation going on. So I had this idea of having a curved path here, and having like a little ball or something go up the hump, and then speed up, and then shoop up into the air, and then do a little trick, alright? So I said, hey, you know what? That might be pretty cool. So how would I go about building this in real life? Well, what I did was I brought the path and that little ball over into my least favorite program of all, Adobe Illustrator. And so I have the path that I'm going to be using that'll be visible, but then I created another path, which is a motion path. And what's going to happen is this is the path that the ball will actually follow, and you'll notice that it extends above the path that you're going to see. So basically it's going to be, imagine like a skateboarder going off a half pipe and going up in the air and slowing down up here, okay? So now that I have this vector artwork, I went ahead and exported an SVG. I then went over to CodePen, put the SVG into my file, and I did a very quick animation, and you'll see here that it's just a linear motion, okay? There's no slowing down up here or speeding up as he drops in or slowing down as you get to the apex here. But what I do have in here is my sort of hacked together ease editor, which allows me to add some points to this easing curve, and then I can see the results in real time. So right now I made the ball stop there and then shoot up. If I pull this point down, you'll see I can do a little bit of a little back and forth motion there. In my course, B-Sides, Bonuses, and Oddities, I explain exactly how this ease visualizer was built using a bunch of GreenSock tools, but I can't get into that all right now. So what I did was I basically tweaked this curve to a point where I got it the way I wanted. And the path I came up with looks something like this, all right? You'll see that when the ball gets right around here, he slows down, it speeds up, and then gets slower, zoom, as he comes up to the top. All right, so I'm pretty happy with this curve, but I figured, you know what? While I'm working on something like this, why don't I share it with my audience, let them have some fun in experimenting with it, and maybe they can come up with something better. So my first not a real challenge is just to get some sort of an object to follow a curve and have the speed be somewhat related to the actual steepness of the curve. So here you'll see we jump, speed up, and then slow down at the end, all right? You can use web technologies, you can use Animate, you can use After Effects. I don't really care. It's all about studying motion and practicing. So your first unofficial homework is make an object follow a curved path and make it look like the speed is related to the steepness of the curve. You can use any tools you want, After Effects, Animate, web technologies, it doesn't matter. When you're done, submit on Twitter and tag @SnorkelTV and Motion Study. Post a GIF, video, CodePen, just something I can see. I'll tell you how awesome you are and retweet it. If you want to play around with this CodePen file, I'll just give you some brief instructions here. You can hit Option to add a point, and then you can move that point around. You can, of course, move the handles around as well. If you have a point selected, you can hit Delete to delete it. Let me Option click to add a point here. If you Option click again, it's going to turn it into a corner point. You can Option drag to pull out some handles there. It's pretty much just like Illustrator would work. There is one known little issue, and that is if you click on the path, you can move it, all right? Listen, it's just a prototype, but you can Command Z or Control Z to move it back, all right? You can select points. They tell you can delete them. I don't know. I'll have some instructions down below. But once you get a path that you like, let me Option click this to curve it out. What you can do is say something like copy motion path, and then you're going to go up here and you can paste in that motion path. And then if you save, the next time you run, you will be able to reload and have those settings saved. All right, so let me just do something really gross right here. I'll pull that down like this. Again, copy motion path, and then I'm just going to paste it in like so. I'm going to rerun, which is basically reloading everything, and you'll see that that path is saved there. So anyway, hope this inspires you to do something, and please follow along so that you can actually see the first real episode of Motion Study when it launches. Awesome.